Okay, so I got my pliers. I'm going to pull out this little pin in the middle here. We don't need that anymore, so we'll just pull that out if we can get it to come out. Probably grabbed the wrong pair of pliers for this. There we go. Got that out. Don't need it anymore. Get rid of it. Just like the solenoid. Don't have to have it anymore. So what I want to do is I want to mark a spot pretty much in the middle. You can just guess it. Just make a wag and figure out approximately where you want your valve to be. And I try to get it centered, but it doesn't have to be perfect. Okay. So just make a mark. If you got a way to center it, doesn't matter. Go ahead and put my step drill in. Okay, and this is what we're going to be mounting in the hole we're about to make right here. So I want to make sure that when I use my step drill, I don't go too far with it. You can see it's got a kind of a cone shape on there. I want to make sure I don't go too far with it and open it up so it won't far enough that it's not going to be, I'm not going to be able to tap it properly. So I'll make a mark on my step drill here. Okay, got the mark there. And I'm going to go ahead and start drilling where I made that mark. Now you want to set, since I use a step drill, it's a long drill, I'm going to set it up on top of this PVC here so I don't start drilling into my table and end up having problems with holes in my table. You see, once the step drill gets going, it really starts going. So go ahead and keep drilling that out. Okay. So now I've got a nice hole, almost perfectly centered in there. Came out really well. Now I'm going to tap that with my 1/4 inch NPT tap. Once I can figure out where it rolled off to. So we'll get that started. Start it by hand. Just thread it in a little bit. And then we're going to take that 1/2 inch wrench now, and I'm going to use that to turn it. Go forward and back a little bit. If you guys ever used a tap before know how this works. And I'm just going to keep tapping that until I get, it's a conical tap. I'll just keep tapping. Get it down in there. Back it up once in a while. You want to back it up to clean the threads out. Okay, going in nice and straight. Okay. Now I can back it off. Untap it. I should have a nice tapped hole. And see how much of that stuff gets stuck in those threads if I get the cameras to focus on it. See all that stuff that got stuck in there? That's why you want to back it out. You want to clean those threads out. So, okay, tap out the excess material that's in there. Blow it out a little bit. Now we'll take that pneumatic fitting and we'll test fit it real quick. Guess it came out a little bit crooked, but it's not a big deal. Okay, so I want to take some nylon tape, just nylon tape for plumbing tape, used for gas and for water. About $1 a roll, lasts forever. One roll will. I'm going to roll it around the threads, maybe. Roll around those threads, pull it off, and now we'll go ahead and thread it in. That's just basically to help seal it up. Okay. I don't think I have the right size wrench. We need to get the right size wrench to be able to really crank that down, and we'll work on that later. Okay, now what's going to go on there, I've already seen, is our blowgun. Let's see if I can get it out of the package. Have to be smarter than the package, and sometimes I wonder. So it's really sealed in there. Okay, so we got it out. Has a little bit of a restrictor nozzle on here. That can go in the garbage with the solenoid and the pin that came out of it. Take and thread this on. Really doesn't matter if you use pipe thread on this because it usually won't leak down, but or pipe tape. Let me go ahead and test fit it real quick. let me crank down my, there we go, my threads. I'm going to go ahead and wrap it. Let me move the camera up just a little bit. Okay, here we go. Go and wrap this side with tape. If I can get it, this stuff is really sensitive to static. It likes to stick to everything but what you're trying to stick it to. Just be careful with it. Try not to get any of it in the mouth of the fitting either. Could booger things up later. Okay. Go ahead and put that back on. Try not to get it cross-threaded when I put it on. There it goes. Got it started. So we get that put back on. Crank it down nice and tight. Now we want to line it up to where the trigger is up with this larger part here, because that's going to be the forward side. On your valve, and let me find it on this one, you'll have an arrow. Probably can't see it, but there's an arrow right here that points for the direction of flow. So our air is going to come in from this way. It's going to go out to the barrel on this end, go out that way. So we want to have our trigger on the forward side like that. Now this is keyed. You can see here there's an indentation right here. See the front of that? Okay, that fits right on there. It's the only way it can go back on. So that seems to work real well. Okay, so that is what our trigger mechanism is going to look like when we get done with it. Now there's one other mod we have to do that I found works pretty well for me to make make everything seal properly. And I take my spring that came with it, this spring right here that came out of it, and I'm going to cut it about in half. So right about there, I'm going to cut it in half. And for using it for pneumatics, that seems to work fairly well. Okay, clean everything off. See, there's some little boogers from the plastic in there. We'll clean all that off so we get a nice good seal. Okay, the spring, when it goes back together, goes back in, the half of it goes back in on top, like that. So we'll check in there, everything is nice and clean. We're going to drop this back in, like that. Now this doesn't matter which way it goes in, it just has to go in, of course, right side up. A little bit of plastic layer. You got to make sure you get all the plastic off it or it won't seal. Spring goes on top, and then everything goes back together. Okay, just like that. See, we got it all nice together. We're going to screw it back together. Now you have to be careful when you screw it back together. Don't over tighten the screws. If you do, it won't seal. You'll never be able to get the diaphragm in there to seal up, and it'll cause all kinds of problems. I found that out the hard way. I found if I backed off the screws just a little bit on the first one I made, it let it seal right back up. I was kind of surprised by that, because normally it will, you would think that you'd want to have it good and snug, but it really doesn't seem to help you at all. So we're screwing back down. I'm going to set my the torque on my screwdriver here to the lowest setting. And I'm not going to take them all the way down tight the first time. Okay, crank it up just a little bit. I'm going to take them down to where they're just about to start gripping the head with a sprinkler valve here, and then I'm going to let them get them all down to about 1/16 of an inch of the head, and then we'll go through and we'll torque them all down one by one in a pattern that's going to let us draw down the head straight. By the way, this screwdriver